Welcome back to another Unturned video. In today's video, we're going to do an Unturned settings guide where we will discuss the best graphic settings in Unturned to get as much FPS as possible. If you guys learned something and wish to see more in the future, make sure to drop a like. Let's aim for 150 likes. Also subscribe to not miss any future videos. If you guys have any guide suggestions that you would like to see, make sure to comment them down below too. In today's video, I'm giving away Mythical, and if you'd like to win this Mythical, which is a melting obsidian night trader, make sure that you have liked, subscribed, and comment something below. If you're a channel member, you also have a higher chance of winning. Before we dive into the video though, I want to introduce you to today's sponsor. Are you guys trying to start your own Unturned network, whether it's for survival, roleplay, or you just want to play with your friends? Then look no further than Pine Hosting. Pine Hosting makes setting up your server very easy, offering high performance and a user-friendly interface that's very easy to learn. When I first started into hosting my own network, I had no idea how to do anything, but thanks to Pine Hosting's navigation, I did learn the basics in a very short time. They have server locations scattered across the globe and also very cheap pricing. They also cater to a lot of games including Rust, Ark, and Minecraft. One standout feature is the ability to install plugins and mods with just one click. If you already have another server with another provider, you don't have to worry because Pine Hosting will provide help to migrate your server seamlessly. If you're ready to start your own Unturned server, don't miss the link in the description below and be sure to use the code LDG for a huge 30% discount. And let's get straight into the video. In this video, we're going to go over everything, from options, to resolution and graphics, and how to change your FOV. Firstly, let's go over to the options. In this video, I'm going to explain everything, even though some of them could be self-explanatory just by listening to them. Firstly, show FPS and ping should always be on. With this, you can see how much ping that the server has that you're playing on, how much FPS, and you can also tell if the server that you are playing on has disconnected. As for play menu and death music, this is completely up to you. Personally, I have it off, but the same also with arena timer warning, nothing really that special. As for show blood splatters, it is also pretty much up to you. It does take a little bit performance, but not really that much. But if you're a PvP Chad, I recommend that you have this off because people can actually be hiding in blood. As for censor text profanity, it is also basically up to you. If you don't want to see any swear words in your chat and you want to have them censored, just have them on. If you hover over it, it'll also tell you that hate speech is censored regardless of whether profanity filter is enabled, which is actually a really cool setting. As for text chats, you always should have them on. Also voice chats, you could want to hear if people are talking to you or in the distance, or if obviously you want to see people chatting to you. But if you want to have it off, then feel free. Keep microphone ready is a new setting, which I have it off, but this is basically all up to you. As for show hints, personally I never even saw a hint in Unturned, especially except when I'm doing the tutorial. So if you have it off, doesn't really matter. I never saw a hint while playing Unturned. So I play day and night ambience. Personally I have it on because it does have a bit of a more interesting feeling when you have this on, but if you want to have complete silence when you're playing, then just have it off. Streamer mode is quite self-explanatory. Featured workshop should be on, especially when you want to check out new mods when you're loading into Unturned. If you turn this off, basically the first thing that you see in Unturned is always featured workshop. It's completely up to you, but I have it on just to see what cool mods have been updated. For show hotbar is quite self-explanatory, and also pause while alt tabbing. Over here we have the field of view. Personally I have this on. This just basically does that little zoom. As for volume, you just really need to experiment with this. Master volume is the volume for everything. Voice chat volume is how much you want to hear players around you, and loading screen music volume. Obviously, if you have play menu and that music off, then this doesn't really matter. Next, we have the screenshot super sampling and screenshot loading screen. A lot of people do ask me how I have my own screenshots when I'm loading into Unturned, especially when I'm streaming, and basically that is how you have to enabled. Once you do take a screenshot in Unturned with F12 on Steam and publish it on Steam, all you would have to do to be able to change your settings is you have to go to Steam, you right click Unturned, you go to properties, you go installed files, and you click on browse, and over there is a file where there's screenshots. These are all the screenshots that I took. Obviously you are free to delete and they would be gone and they would no longer show up. Basically, if you only have one screenshot in Unturned, it'll always just show up that screenshot when you're loading in. After that, we do have the custom crosshair. This is completely up to you. Obviously, to have it custom sized crosshair, you would need to play around with that. But yeah, if you guys would like to see how my crosshair is, feel free to pause right now. But this is again completely up to you, but this is how you change your crosshair. After that, we have the colors. Again, this is all up to you. These are my colors if you would like to have it exactly like mine. Most of them are just white or black, little bit of red here and there, but I don't really like to have a lot of colors, but feel free to experiment to how you would like. Afterwards, we have the graphics. Now, I'm going to show you mine, but I will explain them as well. Firstly, we have the distance rendering. Personally, I have the first two always on max and landmarks on off. This is to show far buildings, and for some maps it doesn't even matter. So and it does do eat a lot of performance. If you hover over it, it'll tell you exactly how much. If you hover over it, it'll tell you exactly what each setting gives. So for example, on low, large objects only; on medium, would always show trees; on high, opt-in objects; and on ultra, roads. This does do eat a lot of performance, so if you guys are going for FPS, always have that off. Next, we have ragdolls. Now, if you do want to have higher FPS, then I recommend having this off because it does take up some performance. The same with debris, ambient occlusion, and bloom. Flip game is completely up to you, but personally, I think it's just ugly to have. As for terrain, transition is on, but it doesn't really need that much performance. Grass displacement and scope foliage is off. Blast marks is also off. It's very important that rain puddles is off. It does take a lot of performance, and the same with snow glitter, especially if you're not playing Yukon. Pretty sure snow glitter only works on Yukon. Triplanar mapping also should be off as well. If you do hover over it, it'll basically tell you in detail, but it's not really that special, and they do take up a little bit of a performance. As for skybox reflect, I really like how it looks like with it on, so I always have it on. As for item icon anti-aliasing, I also have this off. Chromatic aberration can look a bit good in screenshots, but sometimes I still have it off. This basically in the edges, it gives like a sort of a blur with RGB basically. So I recommend that you have this off, but it's completely up to you. Now let's go over to the main graphics. Anti-aliasing should always be off. The filter is disabled. With these mostly just reduce jagged pixel edges and texture blur, which honestly I don't really see any difference when I'm playing with them differently. As for effect duration, you should have it on low, since this is basically means that ragdolls, blood splatters will just take longer to disappear and will just eat up your performance. If you have blood splatters off, this just basically doesn't even do anything. You can also have this on low, medium, high, on ultra. On low, it takes 16 seconds for stuff to despawn. On medium, 32 seconds. On high, 48 seconds. And on ultra, 64 seconds, which is quite a lot. I mean, if you killed a guy a minute ago and he's basically stared at every blood and everything, it just takes up your performance. As for ground density, you cannot turn this off. Before you can, but now Nelson have made it that you can only have it on low or higher. For PvP, I recommend having this off, so it'll be easier for you to spot green skin sky hiding. Sun shafts do look quite good in my opinion. Doesn't really take up that much performance, so personally I would have them on medium. If obviously you're going for performance based, then just have it off. If you're going for how good the game looks, then just go on medium. Obviously you can have it on ultra, but you know, on ultra it'll take up much more performance, and on medium it basically looks the same as on ultra, just a little bit of difference. Next we have lighting quality, which basically this is just shadows. Personally I have this off all the time. For PvP and for performance it doesn't really help. As for how the game looks, obviously it'll look much better, but for performance it does take up quite a lot, and for PvP people can basically hide in shadows. You won't even get to see them. After we have screen space reflection quality. Basically this is puddle reflection, so just have it off, especially if you have rain puddles off. As for water quality, this is basically the graphic that takes up the most performance because Unturned has all the water underneath every single map. As for PvP though, I recommend having it on high because with it you can see players under the water, especially when you're on land. On ultra it does look best, but it takes up a lot of FPS. If you're going to FPS, just go for low. If you're going for PvP, then go on high. After that we have planar reflection quality. Obviously in order to access it, then I just have recommend putting it on quality. It's kind of weird that for some of them you can't really play with them, but if you have water quality on ultra, then you can play around with this. If you have water on low, then you can't. Pretty sure even on high and medium, yeah, you can play with them. But basically what planar reflection quality does is that this is water reflection detail. With low you can basically see landscapes. With medium you can see sky, trees, structures, and large objects, and on high you can add vehicles, barricade, medium objects, and with ultra you can see players, AI, and effects. Personally I would have this on ultra, but only if you have water quality on ultra. So this is if you have a good PC, then just have it off. If you have a, not really a good PC, then just have it on low, even though you can't really play with it. But that's basically what planar reflection quality is. Next we have scope quality. Scope quality I always have it on off because if you have it on high, then obviously it'll take up a little bit more performance, but even for PvP I find this to have off even better. I feel like it's much smoother to shoot when you have it on off than when you have it on ultra, so I would always go this on off, but this is basically also your preference. Outline quality highlights, resolution, and blur. I always have this on low or medium. For terrain quality I always have it on ultra, and wind quality on off. As for tree quality is also basically up to you, but I go with basic models. As for render mode, I use deferred. Forward render mode does run better on an older graphics card, but deferred always decals and screen space reflections, so it's up to your graphics card. Now let's go over how to change your FOV. In the description below I'll have the current one that I use, but feel free to experiment to see how you'd like yours to be. Basically all you would have to do is you just go into your Steam library, you go in Unturned, right click properties, you go in installed files, browse, and over there is a file called preferences. Over here you can play around, you can can have the view model down over here. You basically just change the numbers from over here. We also have some other cool stuff in graphics. First of all, we have use skybox ambience, which you can have it usually on false, but if it's not true, then the game will look quite better actually. And over here we also have the chat, where over here you can have fade delay, which basically is how quickly the chat messages will fade away. History length, which is basically how much messages you can see, which is set to 16, but you can have it much more. You can basically keep on scrolling forever. And as for preview length, you can have it on 5, but feel free to experiment, especially with the view model. If you guys would like mine, I'll have it in the description below. And that is basically it. I really hope that this taught you guys something. If it did, please let me know. And if I was unclear about something, then also please let me know, and I would like to respond to as much comments as possible. And let me know if this actually affected your FPS or not. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!